Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wake the Fuck Up podcast. I am Uncle Lee, the major hemorrhoid of the universe. That's me. But we are here on this glorious edition 7/20/25 for the Epstein Spectacular. Oh boy, so what do we got today? Well, now that the Epstein hubbub and it's kind of settled down a little bit compared to what it was about a week ago, I thought I'd dive into this wonderfully fun topic because everybody's giving their 2 cents. Why can't I? Stick with that reasoning. So, I'm sitting here looking at a Bing page with Jeffrey Epstein's name typed in, and I'm given a very bunch of stuff, and let's see here. Wikipedia, he was a teacher, he was a banker, financial consultant, various other things. He was connected to low, mid, and high-level people throughout his career. And let's see. Yep. See, I'm looking at Wikipedia, and most of you will probably, spit at it, but 2005, police, Palm Beach, Florida, found him sexually abusing 14-year-old daughter. Federal officials identified 36 kids, some as young as 14, who Epstein had allegedly sexually abused. He pleaded guilty, was convicted in 2008 for procuring a child for prostitution and of soliciting a prostitute. He was convicted of only these 2 crimes as part of a controversial plea deal, served almost 13 months. 13 months. He was arrested again in 2019 for sex trafficking. Died in his jail cell. 2019. It's been 6 years? Seriously? Wow. I did not realize it had been that long. Did not realize it had been that long. Wow. Okay, so he was doing all this stuff, having a good old time, and supposedly it was a black ops intel gathering operation, because they had photographs, they had videos, they had a bunch of crap. They had an island, they had a airplane, they had a flight log, and I'm trying to think of all of the people who have been caught up and put in jail for this, for being connected to him. And it's kind of the reason why I'm not really shocked at the current state of things, because if this guy was connected to all of the interesting and fun individuals of the elite, and he was ferrying them for whatever, cash, money, side stuff. I'm not going to discuss any of the specifics, because if you're familiar with Epstein, from just that chunk I read off of Wikipedia, this guy was doing some nasty shit that those people would want to see executed for. Just, you know, if I found out some dude was fucking with my 14-year-old daughter, I'd want him killed. I'd want him dead. You know, that's old school father of me, you know. It's like I see Sick Son of a Bitch, 2008. When he was convicted, he was born in 53, so he was 55 years old when he was convicted of fucking around with teenagers. Yeah. Yeah, if I was a father of a 14-year-old girl, daughter, and some 55-year-old dude was trying to fuck around with her and actually did. I hope the jury would understand. Give me a little leniency, come on. Because that kind of stuff shouldn't happen. I don't think too many people would disagree with that. You know? So we know this guy was up to something. And the fact that he had an island with video cameras, videotapes, and all sorts of, I would imagine, documentations and various other things that were raided by some unknown entity, force, agency, whatever. All evidence and material was removed. Nobody said anything about where it went, what happened to it, or how it was going to be used, and we haven't heard a thing since. Again, not surprised that it ended up the way it did, because you have a lot of people on that flight log that was released, and there was a number of people who probably didn't do a thing. Guilt by association, though, means what, ladies and gentlemen? That means that even if you did nothing, people are still going to give you the side eye. And if you're in a profession that does not favor side eye activities, you probably don't want anything listed. So even though you are innocent of everything except having slime ball right next to you, hugging you, going, I'm going to get you that grant, you're still going to be like, fuck, man, this guy tainted my legacy. He tainted everything I've done. And any more implications might fuck me further. Fuck. Are you going to be quiet? Not want things exposed? Again, guilt by association. Even though you may have done nothing, people are still going to look at you sideways. So would they be rah-rah-rahing for dude's exposure? Maybe not so much. Accountability is a major bitch for some people. So when he has also major connections to high power people, we're talking billionaires, big business, politicians, bureaucrats, are they going to want everything exposed, anything exposed? Hell no. That means their downfall too. That means their end of power. They're not going to do that. Any kind of sweep up, any implication is going to ruin careers, livelihoods, futures. So, implications alone are going to make him kind of wanting to be buried. So again, I'm not surprised at the current predicament and the fact that it's like instantaneously, because the promise to expose him was made by politicians. Politicians are corruptible and they're born liars. So therefore, would you believe the people who tell you lies? And I know people will say Trump's not a liar, Trump's above political, blah, blah, blah. He's a big fish in a big pond. Granted. But he's not Mr. Big. He's not the biggest. And let it be known, if you threaten corruption in a meaningful way, they will not take kindly to that. Just think about every evil baddie in every movie you've ever seen, and then imagine it happening in real life. There's an old parable of a person who wanted to do good and right, who wanted justice and get rid of corruption and make the world a better place. You may have heard of him. And one second here. He didn't have a happy ending. In fact, a lot of people who are of the same mentality also don't have a happy ending. What do you do when you get helped? Or when you help? You're taken out, you're shot, nailed to a cross, whatever. Burned alive at a stake, stuck in an Iron Maiden. Fun, happy shit. So, those kind of consequences do stick in people's minds. And they're not going to expose themselves in a scorched earth philosophy of, well, if I'm taking them down, I'm going to take everybody with me. If I'm being taken down, I'm going to take everybody with me. And it's like, yeah, that happens in the movies. It happens for low-level drug dealers trying to get Mr. Medium, hopefully maybe Mr. Big, but people have family and friends that can be hurt by this kind of corruption. And if you don't think those people would be targeted if you were in the position of exposing such an individual in the operations, would you be willing to sacrifice everybody, everything, and have your life utterly and completely ruined? Ask it seriously. Because if you would sacrifice your entire existence and everything attached to you, the life of luxury you've had, or may have had, or could have if you kept your mouth shut, versus the nightmares that will come in from every direction, you're not going to give it up. You're going to be like, okay, what do I have to do? That's what you're going to do. To be willing to stand and sacrifice for the cause usually ends up with a mound of martyrs. And no one's going to remember except for the tales of a very old book. Maybe. If they even remember the tale properly. You never know what what they'll write, because guess what? You're dead. Ain't gonna matter. Yeah. That's, and that's the thing I always love about people, whistleblowers. People think they're going to be protected. They're not. You rat on the boss. Boss is doing some corrupt shit. They do whatever they want to you. And if the people investigating them are also friends with you, then guess what? You're really screwed. And not only if you jeopardize anything in particular that they don't want exposed, you really think they're going to be like, yeah, let him. He's got a lot of knowledge. It's every bad movie plot, really. It's like, oh my God, they're about to expose us all. Kill him! Get rid of him! Do something! Make him have an accident! Auto accident! Goes off a cliff! Yay! It's great! It's wonderful! Woohoo! We're free, clear, dead man tell no tales! Again, it's the whole end point right here. does not shock me. Doesn't. It can't. You know? Because again, they slip out a little bit of list, get the guilt by association, remind the people up top who are actually on the major lists, the really good shit, the really fun people, as a reminder that, yeah, we know who you are. We've got friends in the media we can slip this out to. Remember your place. Do what we tell you or else. Because although you may not know who these people are directly, lists in front of your face, everything else, they know who they are. You know, that's the other reason. It's like, if you know they're powerful and elite and they're at the top of the societal food chain, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And the knee-jerk pivot from it being yeah, we've got the list on our desk, we're going to put them out, to, yeah, it's just a hoax. There's no list. Everything's done. You know, we're great. We're wonderful. Go back to your normal lives and we'll get back to helping you out. As soon as I heard that pivot, as soon as I heard Trump say it was a hoax, as soon as I saw Borgino and Bondi and, was it Cash and Trump just kind of doing the messaging, I immediately was just like, yep, I recognize this. This is when the bosses tell you to shut up and mind your own business and go back to your normal lives after they've gotten done fucking you. They gave you a sand job, they spun you around and said, guess what? Go back to work. You're done. We got nothing more to talk about. It's over. We're good. And, you know, there's a lot of people that are still, you know, going, oh, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, it is. But guess what? It don't matter. Don't matter. Let it go, kids. You're not to scare anymore. This is the order of the federal government. Don't care anymore. Nothing to investigate, nothing to look into. You're all good. You're all golden. Go back to your bed. Go back to your TV. Go back to YouTube. Shut the fuck up. Go back to sleep. What can you do? For something like this to actually be dealt with, meaningfully, rationally, just done. That can't happen. Guy's been dead for 6 fucking years, ladies and gentlemen. What has happened in that time? Not a goddamn thing. One token fucking person in prison who had the lists, who had the information. I bet she's well protected in prison. Bet she's well taken care of. Where's Epstein at? Well, he's supposedly dead. Do I believe he's dead? I have my doubts. And here's the reason why. I hate to kind of harp on this, but a lot of it just sounds like bad writing for a B or a C grade movie. Or just one of the other thousands of prison break stories. And they were just like, let's do the opposite. Let's break him out by keeping him in. He's got to kill himself. So what are we going to do? We're going to have him kill himself in the jail cell. And then as soon as he's pronounced dead, we get him out, go send him on some facelift surgery, maybe give him a voice box alteration. I don't fucking know. But it just sounds like, and we've got everybody in line. We've got the right people in place at just the right moments. But we don't have enough time to actually kill the son of a bitch. Because we don't want to. We got enough time to make everybody think that he killed himself, give enough people the conspiracy that he didn't kill himself. Meanwhile, this motherfucker's probably on a beach in Maui looking like a goddamn whatever. Doesn't sound at all like himself. And he's going, yep, we did it. We got it done. That's my conspiracy theory. That's my conspiracy theory. You know, am I right? Depends on how fast I'm assassinated. Like, nobody listens to him. Nobody pays attention to him. Nobody gives a shit. It's like, fingers crossed. I don't want to die this week, sir. Please don't ruin my life if I'm right. Because, again, nobody gives a shit what I have to say. Yeah. How fast my life gets annihilated and destroyed or otherwise murdered will depend on how correct I actually hit all the nails on the head. So, for anybody who actually knows me and sees my obituary in the next couple weeks, I was right. See me on the side of the road, walking down the road, completely broke and busted. I was right. Dude, it'd be so fucking hilarious. My entire life is destroyed, utterly annihilated. I'm walking down the road, fucking in tatters, just beaten the fuck up. And all of a sudden I see this dude, and he just smiles at me and goes, "You were right." Just walks by, and I'm like, "I bet you were Epstein. Motherfucker." But yeah, am I surprised at where things are? No. Did I ever think it was going to happen? Hell no. You know, Epstein's list being released. No, never. Never. Too many people involved, too many people from guilt from association, too many people that have their finger in the cookie jar on him, and they can't afford to let anything out. Because if they did, the people would lose enough faith in the system for things to be get on really shaky ground, especially when we've got a debt bubble that's ready to pop, a soft civil war that's going on between the left and the right factions, ideologues, and yeah, I could definitely see a major bubble popping, creating other major bubbles to pop, and all of it just cycling down into one swirly shit stain. So, yeah, I think that's about sums it up. If everything gets exposed, the entire system collapses because all of the people involved are the ones running the show. And then, of course, you got to tie the loose ends up and go searching for other things, and all the investigators needed for that. Yeah, it's much easier to collapse the system than to let all of that get exposed and have everybody just... So we collapse the system through an economic suck job, but we keep everybody safe who was playing with him. Or we collapse the entire system after we expose everybody who's involved, who are probably high people, and yeah, the system collapses because, of course, the corruption and the tyranny is just going to fucking turn into Purge City. So, well, damned if we do, damned if we don't. Which way of accountability and culpability and accountability are we willing to talk about here, then? God, I love humanity. Isn't it fucking great, kids? Isn't it fucking fun? You know? Isn't it fucking great? I love it. I love it. But yeah, that's. But this is what happens in a society that has become so corrupt that we can't hold anybody accountable, or else the entire deck of cards, or the entire house of cards, just. And then we're right back to square one again with whoever decides to pick up the pieces and try it with us again. Because every civilization collapses under the weight of its own incompetence, disease, societal meltdown. I mean, whatever. You know, this civilization, this culture, this country has only been around for 250 years in its semi-current state, and we've added on. We've taken 2/3 of a continent and added on to the 1/3 that we had, and here it is. So whenever this decides to fall, be rest assured somebody's going to come in and take it up and do whatever, and that's where we're at. Are things about to fall with Epstein? Everybody's call for Epstein? I don't know. It's got a shot. But if we expose and go after all the bad people that he's attached to, system collapses. If we do nothing, system collapses. So pick your poison, because corruption is so intertwined with everything and every fabric of our society that those are the consequences. Welcome to Historical Fact. All right, folks, go have a good one. Enjoy. Peace out.